Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review and another episode of Deep Cuts. This is where I go and I either get a record I've never heard, something that's old that I haven't heard in a long time, something I'm discovering right now, and I do a record review on a couple of records per week. This week we've got 3 releases that I'm going to review. They shouldn't take a super long time. I try to keep these videos sometime around 10, 11, 12 minutes. But today we're going to talk about Cult Crime, Chromosome, and Aus-Rotten. So, yeah, thank you for hanging out. Please, if you're enjoying this stuff, let me know. Give us a thumbs up. Throw a comment down there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. We're trying to hit 11K. We're getting pretty close. I'd like to have that before I go to Punk Rock Bowling, if possible. Yeah. So, before I get started on the album reviews, if you want to check out other ways to support the channel, we have channel shirts on my web store, linked in the description. We've also got my Instagram if you want to check that out, and Discogs, excuse me. And then also if you want to check out our Patreon, it's linked down there as well. If you have any questions about anything, just let me know. There is an exclusive Discord server for the Patreon members, so if you want to check that out, by all means do so. If not, no worries. Let's talk about some punk rock records. Okay, I just so happen to have each of these in my possession on vinyl, so I think that's pretty cool. We're going to do Cult Crime. This is a self-titled EP. We'll talk about this one first. It came in, I think this was just on black vinyl. Black vinyl. There's a poly-lined sleeve, an insert, and then it's like a semi-gloss jacket. Red, white, black color scheme we can all get behind. These guys are out of, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm not familiar with that part of the world, so my apologies if I messed that up. The album was recorded by Dan Vapid. It was released on March 25th of this year, 2025, through Ugly Pop Records. This is 9 songs at just 22 minutes. It's a hefty EP, more so than an actual LP, I guess, but it's got no fat to trim, so take that how you want. I prefer 9 good songs versus, say, 13 songs with only 9 that I like. Plus this was at 45 RPMs, which technically provides a better quality sound. On a buzzy 77 style punk rock record like this, not so sure it makes a big difference, but it's cool. People tend to like 45 RPMs more so than 33 and a third. I personally do not care. Solitary End is probably the song that stands out to me the most on this EP. It's got the most guitar work and a nice little solo in there to get you moving around. I also like the song before that. It's called Desperation. And then right after that, there's a song called Flowers. I like that song a lot as well. The lyrics in that song are some that I think we can all relate to, and I'll give you a little excerpt from the lyric sheet. When I go outside, I'm reminded of the things I hate. I want to stomp on all your flowers. Kick a yuppie in the face, ain't got the time for the new sensation. All that's on my mind is mass annihilation. Get no relief, blood in the streets, flesh in my teeth. I mean, relatable? I think so, especially in 2025. The B-side on this particular release has got a little more that I enjoyed than the A-side, which I find interesting. To be clear, the A-side's fantastic. This is not something that I'm griping about. I just noticed that I liked the songs on side B a little bit more than side A. What that means, I don't know. It's subjective, I guess. This one goes by quick, but leaves you wanting more instead of waiting to get to another band, which I think is incredibly important for a record like this, especially when it's in a band that you may not be familiar with. If you jam the likes of bands like Chain Whip and Career Suicide, you should definitely check these guys out. It's a very riff-heavy 77 style punk rock with a snotty vocal style similar to the Briefs. It's more raw than they are, though, and a bit less poppy. Kind of like 1 part pop sensibility to 2 parts raw power, if that makes any sense. So it's still there, the pop sensibilities, but it's not quite, in the front of it. This album's, release is very, very good. They're just not as focused on it as, say, like a garage style punk rock band might be. Maybe take like the Briefs and the Adolescents and mix those two up to get an idea what this kind of sounds like. But it's a great band. It's a fantastic release. I'd say if I had to give it grades, I'd say like objectively it's probably hanging out in like the 7 out of 10. Pretty good. Not breaking any new ground. Not doing anything incredibly spectacular. But subjectively, we're probably hanging out like an 8.5. I really like this. It's got the buzzsaw guitar. 77 style punk's probably my favorite kind of punk. That and like maybe a little more sped up if you get into like the street punk stuff. But that's where I hang out the most. So this kind of stuff where it's got a lot of rock and roll into it, I really enjoy it. Again, it's a little short. It's not breaking any new ground, so it's not going to get like a 9.95. But at 8.5, dude, this is something I've been listening to a lot. Like it's been on my turntable quite a bit. But I can also see where, if you averaged out people's reviews of it, it'd probably hang out around 7 out of 10. But I think it's a quality release. If you're into the more rock and roll stuff and you like kind of a snotty attitude and people that are just kind of pessimistic and shitty sometimes, this is good stuff, man. It's good snotty rock and roll. I don't know how else to spell it for you, but yeah. Let's move on. Next up, we have Chromosome, the 8 tracks EP. Came out July 1st, 2011. This one's kind of old. I don't know why, but for some reason, I really thought that this was Japanese when I first picked it up. But, no, not so much. They're from Australia, actually. White vinyl on this one, yellow logo on the cover. I saw one with a pink logo on the internet, so I don't know what pressing this is, but check it out. Super noisy, like crusty D-beat stuff, like I said, out of Melbourne, Australia. Not the kind of music that I would normally like, but it has less like white noise than the other stuff out there. Kind of like I'm listening to some Skit System with Nitty for a video we're doing, and that's kind of a hard listen for me. This has got a little bit better production, but with the same like raw, noisy D-beat. I don't know how to describe it. It's got a lot of rawness to it. It's a very natural, organic sound, but it's heavy, it's fast, but it's got good songwriting. It's got good production. So it's not overproduced. There's no gloss to it, but it doesn't just sound like it's being run through a dirty record player with a bunch of scratches. I don't know how to. There's a lot less white noise, but there's still a lot of distortion, a lot of very distorted vocals. There's very heavy sounds, a lot of mids and lows, not a lot of highs in here. But I don't know if I'm just muddying up what this sounds like. But the song "Live Forever" is probably my favorite track on this one. It's got this badass like rock and roll guitar lead out of nowhere, and it really fits in unexpectedly well in a song like this. Take maybe Motorhead and throw it in like maybe some tragedy or disclose, and you kind of understand what I'm saying about this. But I also really liked Force Fed Lies. There's a really heavy groove that kind of hangs out in that one that just really grabbed my attention. Those two songs I liked enough to put them on the Punk Rock Review playlist on Spotify. You can go check it out. There's linked in the description as well. This EP is an all-out assault on your ears. This production's pretty good, like I said. Also, for being pretty far into the punk rock hole, there's a fair bit of variance in sound. A lot of times, bands like this will put out an album or an EP or whatever, and it'll all just come off sounding like one single song to me. This one does not do that. I would recommend flipping over the jacket. That's where the lyrics are at. Once you do that, you can pretty easily figure out what he's saying, and on a second and third listen, you don't have to do it. I thought that was pretty cool. 8 songs, just under 13 minutes in total length. My biggest complaint for this entire record, and I'm talking about for the release of the album, not necessarily just the songs. It's not all on one side. There's 2 sides. Flipping it over for the length of a 7-inch, but on a 12-inch is really annoying. They could have put all the music on one side. I don't know why they didn't do that. They don't have to put an etching on it or anything. You just put all the music on one side. I get to listen to the whole EP, put it in the sleeve, throw it on the shelf. Anyways, like I said, I'm not sure what pressing I've got, but I've seen the same jacket with a pink logo. The artwork's cool. A little more upside down crosses than I'm usually looking for, but aesthetically it's pleasing nonetheless. Like I said, the lyrics are on the back of the jacket. I assume that was to reduce the need for an insert, and probably cut down on production costs. I think that's awesome. I think more bands should do that, honestly. Don't do a insert, save the paper, save the cost, put the lyrics on the back of the record. I thought it was awesome. Bullshit Detector did that on one of theirs that they put out with me. While the two sides for such little music irritate me a little bit, the lyrics on the back of the jacket is awesome. I think that kind of equals out. If you like bands like Tragedy, Physique, Doom, Disclose, this band is right up your alley. Very heavy, very fast, well-produced, crusty, noisy, D-beat goodness. Yeah. I think this is like, okay, if you think that Tragedy is overproduced, this isn't quite that good. Good, all right? This doesn't sound quite that produced. But it's not as noisy as like Skit System. It's somewhere in the middle of that, if that makes any sense to you. But I think, honestly, man, objectively, this will probably hang out in like the 8 out of 10 for most people that like this kind of music. I'm going to give it a 6.5 because it's just not the music that I like a lot. But if 5 is the average, this is above average. I do think there's enough music on here for me to really like. I put some songs on my playlist. That's pretty important. I do think this could grow on me a little bit more. It could go up to 7, 7.5 if I listen to it enough. But I do like the way Tragedy sounds. I do wish this was a little bit longer. I do wish that it was all the music on one side. So there's like little bits of things that I would change in this. But overall, I think it's a really great release. If you're into the noisy, D-beat, crusty stuff, like check this out. You'll probably like it if you haven't already heard it before. All right. This takes us to our third and final release of this episode of Deep Cuts. I had to reach into the way back and pull out my copy of Aus-Rotten, Fuck Nazi Sympathy. Boy, I tell you, man, we need a record like this right now. It's the second EP on 7-inch by Aus-Rotten. Came out in 1994 on Havoc Records. 5 songs, 9.5 minutes. It's a classic American crust punk release. It sold 25,000 copies. That's insane, dude. It was the highest selling Havoc Records release, at least up to the point that I read on the internet. I don't know if that still holds true. I can't imagine anything sold more than 25,000 copies, but maybe. I don't know. Did they get like a Casualties release or something? I'm not sure. No, because Old Boy does, I think, Charged Records or Punkcore. One of those. I can't fucking remember anymore, man. I haven't listened to this in a very long time, but these guys make a great point with the title track lyrics. Don't give them the freedom. Don't give them freedoms because they're not going to give you yours. I really thought that those lyrics were important. It's something to think about the next time some conservative bigot is like running their mouth and then yelling about freedom of speech, dude. Like, sure, man, I get it. And I understand you got to protect like the shit you don't want to hear. But at the same time, man, these people wouldn't do that for you. So fuck them, man. Put your boot in their ass. Put your fist in their face. And I'm not going to go out there and be some tough guy and do something stupid and go to jail, okay? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you're getting into a situation where it's either turn your back and run or stand your ground like a man and protect your people. Stand up for a good cause. I say stand up for the good cause, man. It's getting scary out there, and we may have to do that in the near future, and I hope that you'll do it because it's going to require people doing it, and I'm willing to sacrifice my time and my freedom to protect and support the freedoms of all my friends, people that I don't even like. Because I think it's important that we stand up against tyrants. And right now, I don't want to get preachy. Right now, we are in a situation that is real scary to me. I put this one is short, sweet, and to the point. In 2025, we need music like this, bands like this, and anger like this. See, I told you. While I always consider them more of a street punk band, maybe because I was just shown these guys from like all my street punk buddies that were into a global threatening scene. I don't know. They were the guys that introduced me to Aus-Rotten, so maybe that's why I consider them street punk. Who really cares? They're great. This EP is awesome. I really like the vocal style. It's kind of like a throaty, higher pitched yell, like the homie in Filth. Can't remember his name. Not much melody or flair found in these songs, though, so maybe that's why it separates them from the street punk style and puts them more into the crust punk subgenre. I have no idea. I really don't care, but Aus-Rotten is great. I'm glad I snagged this one to listen to again. It's been a long time. If you like bands like Nausea, Disrupt, Civil Disobedience, Conflict, you should definitely check out Aus-Rotten if you haven't already done so. This EP specifically is really great. I may just add this one to the giveaways for the Patreon members because this is the kind of shit that if you're not willing to buy it to listen to, I'll give it to you to listen to. Because maybe you're just not sure, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you're entry-level punk and you're not quite sure how deep down that hole you want to go. Fuck it. Jump into Patreon, I'll give it to you, man. I just mean like we do monthly giveaways on Patreon right now. So that's all I meant. Maybe this will make its way into that. If you're on a Patreon member, let me know what you think. You want me to put this in the giveaway pile? I'll do that shit. Love you guys, man. I give that one kind of like a 9 out of 10, honestly, because it's short and sweet. It's kind of underproduced, but I like that about it. It's of its time, but it holds weight, dude. It still holds up in 2025. This came out when? 1994? Dude, that's crazy. 31. Come on, dude. 31 years later, and it's still important. That's bad and good, I guess. Yeah, anyways, my kiddo's busting in on me, so I got to get out of here. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight or today, whatever it is when you're watching this episode of Deep Cuts. But we'll be back next week with a couple more albums for you to check out. And yeah, Parker, want to come say hi? I know you're over there, crazy kid. I can hear you. Yeah, look at this. It's time to It's time to hang out with Parker and Sharky. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. You have a great day. See you in the next episode. Peace.